Hello, folks. We are live with the second episode of the Creative Illuminati podcast. And there's going to be lots of fun new stuff coming up. I just finished the first draft of my next novel. I've got a new book that came out this week, Writing Zombies, and the YouTube animated video series is coming out in a couple days, actually, this coming Friday. No April Fool's tricks. I actually normally just don't even post on April Fools the last couple years. I try and avoid it, but oh well. This is what we're going to do. So, other things to watch out for in the future in upcoming episodes, we're going to have individual interviews with other members of the Creative Illuminati so you can meet other creative professionals who actually learn through the Creative Illuminati school community and uh, get some insights into how they work, what they do, and how it's not just how Creative Illuminati has helped them, but just insights into other people and other perspectives. Because it's not all about me, and I don't want it to be all about me, and I strive to ensure that it isn't. So, if you'd like to be on, if you'd like to come on and do a live video interview with me for the podcast, become a member of the Creative Illuminati right now. The standard membership is only $1 a month, and you can upgrade to premium, which gives you access to self-paced courses at 30 bucks a month, or you can get guidance one-on-one counseling, or I shouldn't say counseling, mentoring, and access to additional content and workshops for about 50 bucks a month. So there's a price point for everybody, and you can always just dip your toe in at the standard level. And if the other content catches your interest, you can get a lot at the premium level as well. A lot of content, including books, comics, how-to guides, the whole shebang. But the standard level comes with lots of stuff too, and you get way more than what you pay for. So I hope you'll check it out and consider that. Anyway, today's subject is going from idea to published, from taking your idea for something new, original, a piece of entertainment, and actually bringing it to the world where people can see it and share it and buy it and give you feedback. This is one of the biggest challenges that people have. Plenty of people start a project, not everybody finishes it, and this is a skill that you can develop. And I'm going to just talk about um, how you can go about doing that. And yes, Creative Illuminati will help you with that. But even if you're not a member, you can check out this podcast. You can listen, you can watch, and you can get some valuable information on how to produce your projects and get them out to the public. So let's say you've got a burning idea, you've got a brilliant idea burning in your brain. It's a comic book series, it's an indie game, it's a graphic novel, it's a uh, tabletop role playing game, virtual or physical. Uh, Something that is a creative venture where you're storytelling and you're sharing your ideas with the world. And it's, in your head, it's going to change everything. It's going to change your life. It's going to make an impact on the industry. We often build these things up in our head before we actually execute. Here's the brutal truth: most creative dreams die in the someday pile. Uh, Most people, as I said earlier, they start, they don't finish. It gets buried under being overwhelmed or perfectionist obsession or crushing weight of not knowing where to start. If that's you, then Creative Illuminati might be a place to check out. But what if I told you there's a proven framework that can take your idea from concept to published product in weeks, not years? That successful creators aren't just more talented, they're using a strategic approach that fast tracks execution while everyone else is still planning to plan. And that would be the creative acceleration framework. It's a 5-stage system that eliminates the guesswork and gets your creative projects to the world faster than you thought possible. Why most creative projects never see daylight is because there's an elephant in the room. You're not stuck because you lack creativity or talent. You're stuck because traditional creative advice is broken. The old model tells you you have to perfect your idea before starting. You have to create everything yourself from scratch, or you have to wait for the perfect moment to start your project to begin it, or you have to build everything and have the entire thing done and ready to go before you get feedback from anyone. That approach doesn't just slow you down, it kills your productivity, it kills your project before it gets made. Creative acceleration flips that script completely. Uh, what you do in stage one is stop brainstorming, start strategizing. Most creators spend months in idea development when they really need strategic clarity. Here's how to nail this in days, not months. Define your core promise. What specific problem does your creative work solve? Now, this first step can be some of the biggest hurdles. It's the hardest thing to get your mind around. Now, we know it's not curing cancer, okay? That if that's your goal, I wish you all the best. I don't have the scientific knowledge for that, but you can possibly apply this to it if that's your goal. But if we get a little less lofty and we say maybe the problem we solve is to entertain people who need some entertainment. Okay, something new. Who desperately needs that solution right now? And what makes your approach uniquely valuable? We can apply what's called the scamper method. Instead of starting from zero, use scamper to refine successful concepts. Substitute, what if your comic was set in space instead of medieval times? Combine is the C. What happens when you merge two popular genres? The A is adapt. How can you apply successful storytelling from other mediums? So, where can you take inspiration from that you've been exposed to? Things that if you watch anime, if you play role playing games, how can they influence your comics or your animation or your video game production? Eliminate unnecessary complexity. What can you remove? And that would be, I think I skipped the M. There's also modify. What elements can you amplify or minimize? So, what things do you have the power to make bigger or better right now? And what things do you think are drawing attention away or muddying up the concept that you can reduce? Then we eliminate unnecessary complexity and then rearrange. How can you restructure not just your story idea, but the typical format people would expect? Maybe you can flip something on its head that would make the storytelling approach more original than something else. Document your vision in one page. Create a simple product vision document that includes core concept, 2 sentences max. Boil it down. Target audience specific. Your target audience isn't everyone, okay? You're trying to appeal to a demographic. Is it teenage young women? I don't know. I don't want to say girls. Uh, I don't know what's appropriate anymore. Um, but yeah, is it teenage girls you want to target? Is it middle-aged men? Is it grandparents? Is it parents of young children? Every piece of entertainment is a product in itself, and that product has to have a demographic, and that demographic needs to be looking for something for you to provide it. So figure that out. Who would be interested in this? Is your um, gender bending teen romance going to appeal to middle-aged men? Maybe, but you'd probably find a bigger audience in the teenage market, probably female teenage market. That is actually a very growing segment right now. So figure out your target audience. I can't tell you, I don't know what your idea is. Your unique selling point. What is different that sets your idea apart from what's been done before? Success matrix, metrics. I don't know why I said matrix, metrics. So that your targets, how many downloads or sales or pieces of engagement online are you looking for? What is going to tell you that you're moving in the right direction and that you're connecting with audiences? What are those things? Some people, they just want, 1,000 likes, and it's best to start with a low target. So start with 500 views. If it's a YouTube video you want to produce, maybe animation, that's an easily attainable goal. Small steps, baby steps, and you can increase those metrics as the project gets more popular, as it gets bigger, or as you move on to your next project. Maybe you start and you do an animated film and you set the target at 500 views. At 500 views, you're going to feel successful and it's going to motivate you to produce the next episode. So then maybe the next episode or the next video series, you say, okay, now we've got to hit 700 or 750. And again, that's going to be your target for success. And eventually, as time goes by, those targets aren't going to uh, seem as important. You'll be hitting 1,000 or 2,000, and you'll say, okay, well, now we've got to get 1,000 views and a certain number of sales and a certain number of downloads. Whatever it is, you've got to set that target. I can't give that to you because, again, every project is different. So, stage two, you're going to do this in the first to second week of beginning to really focus on your project. Test before you invest. Here's where most creators make their biggest mistake. They assume their idea is what people want. Smart creators validate first, build second. You can do a 48-hour validation sprint. Create a simple landing page describing your concept. Post concept art or mock-ups on social media. Run targeted polls in relevant communities. Get people's opinion. Conduct 5 to 10 quick interviews with potential readers or players if it's a game. Analyze engagement metrics and feedback patterns. So it doesn't have to be done. Post sketches, post rough work, post concepts and ideas, and see what resonates, see what people respond to, see what opinions you get back from people. Red flags that can save you months. If you get zero engagement, if your feedback focuses on fundamental, if your target audience says, it's not for me, or if no one asks you, when can I get this, or where can I get this? Green lights that signal this is something you should pursue. People share your concept posts organically on their own channels because they enjoy it so much. You receive specific questions about the features that will be in this product, or its availability, or its price point. Audience suggests improvements, not complete overhauls. You don't want the audience to go, this needs to be completely redone. But if they say, it would be really, just really bring this out a bit more, this would bring out an aspect or make this just a little bit better. Those are the kinds of feedback you're looking for. And pre-launch interest exceeds your expectations. So maybe you get more response than you were hoping for. Maybe you get more views, more questions, more interaction than you had targeted for your determination of success. Those are all good signs. Stage three, you're going to look at this in the second and third week that you're focusing on your project. Build fast, learn faster. Traditional prototyping advice tells you to create detailed mockups. The creative acceleration framework says create the minimum viable version that proves your concept works. For comics and graphic novels, sketch 3 to 5 key scenes instead of full pages. Use AI tools to generate background elements quickly. With a caveat, there are ways to and not to do this. Don't abuse the technology. It's being abused all over the place. Use technology ethically, and that is a subject that we can delve into an entire episode about ethical AI implementation. Create character turnarounds with simple poses. So create the illustrations or model them in 3D if you can do that, if you're not able to draw or illustrate. But create designs so that people can see what the characters will look like, and then write some sample dialogue for crucial story moments, key scenes. For games, if you're developing a game, build one core gameplay mechanic perfectly. Create placeholder art that conveys the visual style that you'd like to see in the game. Design 2 to 3 levels that showcase the experience. So we're looking at like a demo version of a game. Uh, Test the core loop with friends or online communities. So again, if you're a gamer, you know gaming communities. You're probably part of some. You probably have some friends or family members that game as well. That you talk about whatever games that you're into at the moment, and get them to check it out and test your gameplay, um, your demo version before you release it out, and get some feedback. The prototype success formula is that focusing on one thing really well, then everything moderately. Your prototype should answer, does the core experience deliver on my promise? So, that promise we made at the beginning, that's what you want to focus on if you're developing a game. What promise did you make? An entertaining first person shooter that takes place on a wild western alien planet. So, then your levels should deliver that. Your demo levels should deliver that. You shouldn't have to go through 10 levels of a game to get to your core premise. All right, stage 4, accelerated production. This is weeks 3 to 6 when you're focusing on your project. Ship fast, iterate faster. This is where the magic happens. Instead of trying to create everything perfectly from scratch, you'll leverage modern tools and techniques to accelerate production dramatically. The Modern Creators Toolkit has AI assisted art generation for backgrounds and concepts, template based layouts that speed up page creation. So don't be afraid to fall back on pre existing templates or templates that are readily available to purchase or download. It's okay. It's not cheating. That is a myth that is perpetuated by people who are trying to gatekeep and protect their job and their industry because they see everyone else as competition. And that's not the case. Not everyone is competition. And if you want to build a test, a demo, this is how you get started. And this is something that's been done since long before AI and long before digital computing and 3D generation and CGI. Anyone trying to propagate the myth that people didn't do tests and demos is ill informed at best. Um, so templates are okay. If you don't like the template, or if it's bugging you, or if you get some negative feedback, change it later. But at least you're delivering something. You're delivering your idea to the eyeballs and the brains of your potential audience, and getting that feedback and testing it yourself, which is another big thing too. So build your asset libraries for common elements like effects, textures, fonts, things that you're going to use, and find ways to automate repetitive tasks. Um, Whether you use AI or not, there are plenty of ways to automate repetitive tasks. I like the process of creation. I like the process of creating art and visuals and games. So I have all sorts of day-to-day business tasks, whether it comes to emails, to texts, business matters, promotion, press. Those are things you can automate. And all I have to do is pop in and check and approve things. And then I go back to making the creative end of things, because I don't want to spend my entire day working on emails, chasing leads, posting on social media. If I'm doing all of that, when am I going to actually create this game or this comic or whatever it is that I want to bring to the audience? So automate repetitive tasks. The 80/20 production rule: focus 80% of your effort on the 20% of elements that create 80% of the impact. So that means character expressions and key action scenes for comics, core gameplay mechanics and player feedback for games, emotional story beats and character development for novels. Put 80% of your effort into these things. The rest can be filled in later. And that doesn't mean that it is filler. It means that you focused on the points that are going to resonate the most emotional response from your audience. Put your effort there. Weekly production sprints. Break production into weekly sprints with specific deliverables. So for week 3, character finalization and style guide. Focus for a week on just designing not just the look of your characters, their costuming, Does it make sense? The style that they dress in, that they wear, do they wear the same clothing most of the time? Do they not? And work on your character Bible, your background, stuff that may never be in your game or your comic, but make sure that you know your character's background, their motivations, whether they're a protagonist or an antagonist, and how their background influences their outlook on the world that you've put them in. Week 4, core content creation. Create your first act if it's a book, your first couple levels if it's a game. Week 5, polish those core things and then develop some of the secondary content. Excuse me. Week 6, final assembly and testing. So again, when I say final assembly, I don't mean your entire game. I don't mean your entire graphic novel. I don't mean your entire novel. I mean the demo, the core, the tests that you're going to get feedback on. Stage 5, launch and iterate. Perfect is the enemy of published. So the final stage isn't about creating a perfect product. It's about getting your work into the world and learning from real user feedback. The best companies do this. Think of the video game companies that have made changes, updates, different things in games that already existed because users were like, what the heck? I don't like this. This could be better. Things like that. Um, you still need to get that from people. So this is what you're putting out as your initial release, as your demo. So the soft launch strategy: release to a small engaged audience first. Gather specific feedback on their user experience. Identify the top 3 issues that people identify: problems, changes, annoyances that need immediate attention, that need fixing, and then create a rapid improvement plan. Then you've got your post launch acceleration loop. Track engagement, sales, user feedback, whatever your targets are. Learn to identify patterns in user behavior and requests. Implement the changes based on data, not assumptions. So use that feedback. That's valuable data that helps you improve the product. And then repeat, continue that cycle with each update. Just think of how a video game has updates or software has updates on regular intervals. There's no reason you can't do that for your game or your web comic or your novel that you're developing online. And keep in mind, you don't have to release a physical product first. You can test and demo a digital version first until it's at the point where it may not be perfect, it may be not entirely done, but it's at a point where you feel confident that you can produce this thing in print or as a physical product and let it stand on its own. And any additional improvements that need to be made to a physical product, you do that with the next one. Common framework killers and how to avoid them. The perfectionism trap. You'd be tempted to just fix one thing before launching, but that will take forever. And one thing leads to another thing, and you find all these little tiny things that you want to play with and you want to perfect. And I am guilty of this as well. I do it all the time. But set a hard deadline and stick to it. Version 1.0 is about learning, not perfection. So it's your version 1.0. Feature creep. Your audience will suggest amazing ideas during development. Write them down for version 2.0, but don't let them derail your current timeline. So again, don't delay your hard deadline for improvements and expansion or creation, because feature creep, adding more, again, it becomes a monster and it will slow down your project and it will actually just crush your passion for doing it. The comparison game. You'll see other creators' polished work and you'll feel inadequate. Remember, you're seeing their final product, not the messy first draft. Just focus on your work and don't compare it to someone else's, because they've already had the time, they've already had the development, they've already made their demo that they released to a small engaged group of their own loyal friends and followers. And you didn't see that, but it existed, it happened, and you need to do that too before you worry about comparing what you've produced to anybody else's. The next steps to start now: Creative acceleration framework works because it's based on proven product development principles adapted specifically for creative projects. But frameworks only work if you work them. Today's action items for you today. Choose one creative project that's been stuck in your head. Complete stage one's strategic, I'm having a problem talking today, folks. Strategic clarity exercise. 30 minutes. Spend 30 minutes max on it. Set your week 8 launch deadline and work backwards. Share your concept with one trusted person for initial feedback. So that's all things you can do today. Start today. Look at a calendar. Set a deadline in 8 weeks and then work your way back and say, this is where I start. And today I'm going to talk to somebody that I trust about my idea and see what they say. This week, your commitment is to finish stages 1 and 2 from what we discussed earlier. Document your results. Begin stage 3 prototyping. If you start on a Monday, begin stage 3 prototyping by the Friday. The difference between creators who publish consistently and those who don't isn't talent, it's having a system that eliminates the overwhelm and creates clear, actionable steps forward. Your creative dreams don't have to stay dreams. With the right framework, they become products that impact real people in real ways. I don't know why I keep looking this way as if I'm like talking to the audience when the camera's up here. My apologies. Ready to accelerate your creative process? Share more frameworks and strategies for overwhelmed creators. You can find all kinds of this type of content on my Substack in the Creative Illuminati school community, where there's exclusive stuff like this. You can actually see a text version of this podcast with additional illustrations and resources and a library of advice, articles, and columns. You can connect to our now dormant Medium, but there's still plenty of articles there. Medium just is not the platform I prefer to publish on anymore. So check out the Creative Illuminati Substack. You can get all that information from mikegagno.ca. That's MIKEGAGNON.ca. I'm talking faster, or my brain is moving faster than my mouth is today. So the only question left is, what can you create in the next 8 weeks? Because you're the only one who can prove that. And I challenge you to do it. And if you need additional help, check out my website. Check out Creative Illuminati on school.com. That's spelled SKOOL.com. And I will see you next time.